The Gnostics believed that angels were actually evil beings called archons, and they enslaved humanity with fate and astrology. So if you're new here, let me give you some context to start out with. So the Gnostics worshipped a higher god, who I will call the Father, and he has a bunch of little sub-divinities called eons in his little heavenly house called the Pleroma. The youngest eon, Sophia, mistakenly creates a cosmic abomination characterized by wrath, envy, ignorance, and chaos. She names him Yaldabaoth, and she casts him outside of the Pleroma. And yes, Yaldabaoth is thought to have been the Old Testament god. And in this realm of chaos beneath, Yaldabaoth creates his own sub-divinities called archons, what we now know as angels. 3 quick disclaimers to get out of the way before we get started. Number 1, there are over 50 Gnostic texts, and most of them mention archons, and most of them contradict each other. The narrative I'm about to present to you is created using the common ground I was able to find between all the texts, and I will mention additions and discrepancies when I get to them. 2, these myths are most likely not meant to be taken literally, and 3, trigger warning for That being said, the Secret Book of John is the text that gives us the most comprehensive view on what the archons are and what they do, so we will begin there to set our foundation. So Yaldabaoth is just chilling out in our little realm of chaos here, and the text says that he mated with the mindlessness in him to create these luminous beings of fire, which basically just means that he straight up jorked it. The first group of archons he creates correspond to the 12 constellations of the zodiac. The second group of archons he creates is another group of 12, 5 of which are sent to rule over the abyss, and 7 of which are set to rule over the days of the week. These are their names: Athoth, Eloios, Astaphios, Yao, Sabaoth, Adonai, and Sabbatios, and they are all given a total of 365 more archons that correspond directly to the days of the year. All of these archons are androgynous with animal faces. So Athoth has the face of a sheep, Eloios has the face of a donkey, Astaphios has the face of a hyena, Yao has the face of a 7-headed snake, Sabaoth has the face of a less cool single-headed snake, Adonai has the face of an ape, and Sabbatios has the face of flaming fire, which is the coolest face to have in my personal opinion. Anyway, put a pin in Sabaoth right here. We're going to come back to that guy later. Now, in addition to the days of the week, these 7 archons were also set to rule over the 7 heavens, which were the 7 known planets at the time these texts were written. And I should put planets in quotations because it was the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. The text on the origin of the world goes into detail about what these realms were like, and these places belong on MTV Cribs. The text says, each sun has in his heaven thrones, mansions, chariots, virgin spirits and their glories, as well as armies of divine, lordly, angelic, and archangelic powers, myriads without number so they might serve. This text also implies that pagan gods are included among the archons, and it also says that at some point in the narrative, the archons are cast down to earth to be demons, and they rule their realms in exile. Yaldabaoth and his archons then see this prototype of man reflected in the primordial waters of the boundary between the Pleroma and our realm of chaos. This little boundary right here. So this inspires them to make Adam, and first they create for him a soul body. His physical body comes later. So these 7 archons each create these soul materials of bone, sinew, flesh, marrow, blood, skin, and hair, and they are given to the 365 lower archons to put together and mold into his soul body. They then set an archon over the senses, perception, imagination, arrangement, and impulse, and then they put 4 demons in the body: heat, cold, dryness, and wetness. They also create 4 principal demons to rule over pleasure, desire, fear, and grief. From these emotions come passions, and passions are things that archons use to torment humanity. So we have Ephemerphi, the demon of pleasure, who creates the passions of evil and vain conceit. Then there's Yoko, the demon of desire, who creates anger, wrath, bitterness, lust, and greed. Then we have Nenentofni of grief, who creates jealousy, envy, pain, trouble, distress, hard-heartedness, anxiety, and sorrow. And then last but not least, Blauman of fear, who creates terror, servility, anguish, and shame. So after Adam's soul body and physical body are created, Yaldabaoth finds that he has a very difficult time animating him. However, when he was born from Sophia, he stole some of her divinity, and long story short, he gets tricked into giving this divinity to Adam to animate him. So this is where Yaldabaoth and his archons get pissed, because they know that Adam is more intelligent than they are, so they foist mortality upon him and they throw him into the prison of Eden, a place of sensory pleasures where Adam would be too distracted to realize that he was superior. Sophia then sends an emanation of herself to spiritually guide Adam while he's in Eden. This emanation is known as Zoe, life, epinoia, insight, depending on the text that you read, but we'll just call her Zoe. Yaldabaoth tries to steal Sophia's divinity back, so he reaches into Adam and pulls out Zoe in the physical body of Eve. There is a theme in a lot of Gnostic texts that whenever the divine is incarnated in the feminine, Yaldabaoth and his archons try. For more details on why this might be, and for more details on the Zoe-Eve thing, the Nerea video in this playlist should answer some questions. So Yaldabaoth does, and he creates 2 more archons through her. Elohim, who is Cain, and Yahweh, who is Abel. Elohim has the face of a bear, and he rules over water and earth, and Yahweh has the face of a cat, and he rules over fire and wind. Now Yaldabaoth and his archons have control over the elements, and this introduced sexuality to mankind, and lust is one of the biggest passions that the archons use to torment humanity. So that is it for part 1. Please come back for part 2, where we pick up in Noah's time.